If you log onto social media today, you are going to see a headline that will make your jaw drop. You are going to see people screaming that Rory McIlroy, the ultimate defender of the PGA Tour, just signed a shocking mega deal with LIV Golf. Let me stop you right there. Take a deep breath. It is 100% fake news. Rory McIlroy has not signed with LIV Golf. But the reason why these rumors keep going viral reveals a massive truth about the absolute state of panic currently happening in the golf world. Clickbait channels are desperate for views, so they recycle this Rory to LIV rumor every single year. But if you look at what Rory is actually saying behind the microphone, he isn't packing his bags for the breakaway tour. He's actually questioning if LIV is going to survive. Just recently, Rory pointed out LIV's massive financial losses and openly questioned how much longer the Saudi Public Investment Fund is going to keep burning cash without a return on investment. He even called their move to 72-hole tournaments peculiar, noting that they are slowly just turning themselves right back into the traditional PGA Tour model. Rory isn't joining LIV, but he is heavily involved in some very real drama with the guys who did. Because after Rory publicly demanded that Jon Rahm pay his European Tour fines if he wants to play in the Ryder Cup, Rahm just fired back with a completely unfiltered, brutal response. Subscribe and hit the bell right now if you want to hear Jon Rahm's furious response to Rory McIlroy's pay-up demand. Click that button. If you have been watching the brutal, bitter civil war tearing professional golf apart over the last 3 years, you know that certain things were supposed to be absolute. There were lines drawn in the sand that we were told would never ever be crossed. But this morning, a report surfaced that completely paralyzed the entire sports world. This is not just another headline about a mid-tier player chasing a payday. This is a scenario that threatens to instantly collapse the entire foundation of the PGA Tour. The man who stood at the absolute front lines, the superstar who absorbed all the media bullets, the guy who acted as the moral compass and the ultimate shield for the establishment, is allegedly staring at an exit strategy. We are talking about Rory McIlroy, and if the whispers currently echoing through the country clubs and corporate boardrooms are accurate, the PGA Tour is facing a doomsday scenario. We need to pull back the curtain on exactly what is being offered, why his mindset has drastically changed, and why this specific defection would be the final, fatal blow to the tour as we know it. To understand the gravity of this situation, you have to look at the staggering, mind-bending mathematics of the reported offer. According to multiple inside sources, LIV Golf, backed by the endless wealth of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, has laid a formal, historic contract on the table for Rory McIlroy. We are not talking about a standard signing bonus. The reported figure is an astronomical $850 million. Let that number marinate in your mind for a second. It is one of the largest single contracts ever proposed in the history of professional sports. But the sheer volume of cash is only half of the equation. The deal reportedly includes a 2% equity stake in the LIV Golf League itself. This specific detail completely changes the psychology of the negotiation. They are not just asking Rory to be an employee who hits a little white ball on a rival circuit. They are offering him a seat at the billionaire's table. They are offering him true structural ownership in the future of the sport. It is the kind of generational wealth and power that makes a man question everything he previously believed in. What makes this rumor so incredibly jarring is the violent contrast it strikes against Rory's public persona over the last 36 months. When LIV Golf first launched and began poaching major champions, panic ripped through the PGA Tour headquarters. While the executives hid in their offices, Rory stepped up to the microphone. He didn't just casually defend the tour. He went to war. He fiercely criticized the rival league's 54-hole format, openly mocked their team concepts, and directly challenged their business model. He became the de facto CEO, the emotional backbone, and the loudest voice of the resistance. He spent countless hours in grueling player meetings, exhausting his mental energy to convince the younger generation to stay loyal to the history and prestige of the PGA Tour. He sacrificed his own focus, and arguably his own major championship window, to protect an institution that he deeply loved. He was the ultimate loyal soldier. So why on earth is the general of the resistance suddenly considering joining the enemy? The answer lies in the ultimate corporate betrayal. You have to remember exactly what happened on June 6, 2023. After demanding that players like Rory turn down hundreds of millions of dollars out of pure moral loyalty, PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan secretly flew across the world. Behind closed doors, without consulting Rory or Tiger Woods, the Tour signed a shocking framework agreement to merge commercial operations with the very same Saudi public investment fund they had spent 2 years demonizing. Rory found out about the merger at the exact same time as the general public. He was essentially paraded out as the face of the moral high ground, only to be completely blindsided by the executives in suits. He admitted publicly that he felt like a sacrificial lamb. That single moment shattered the illusion of loyalty. The PGA Tour proved that the entire civil war wasn't actually about morality, human rights, or tradition. It was always just about the money. And if the executives are willing to take the billions to secure their own future, why shouldn't the players who actually generate the television ratings do the exact same thing? We have already seen what a massive superstar defection looks like. When Jon Rahm, the reigning Masters champion and a fierce PGA Tour loyalist, suddenly jumped ship for a reported $350 million, it felt like a massive gut punch to the establishment. But losing Rahm was a flesh wound compared to what losing Rory would represent. Rahm was a dominant competitor, but Rory is the undisputed global ambassador of the sport. He is a 4-time major champion, the biggest television draw not named Tiger Woods, and the primary leverage the PGA Tour holds in their ongoing television and sponsor negotiations. If Rory walks away, the dam doesn't just break, it completely disintegrates. Every single sponsor, broadcast partner, and remaining top-tier player will instantly realize that the war is officially over and the PGA Tour has lost. It would trigger a mass exodus that no amount of corporate restructuring could ever fix. And it would profoundly alter the dynamic inside the most exclusive locker rooms in the world. You cannot discuss a potential Rory defection without addressing the massive elephant in the room, Tiger Woods. Throughout this entire chaotic saga, Rory and Tiger have been an impenetrable, unified front. They stood shoulder to shoulder in the infamous Delaware player meeting to restructure the tour. They even partnered up to launch the TGL, a massive, technology-driven indoor golf league designed specifically to keep players engaged within the PGA Tour ecosystem. If Rory signs that $850 million contract, he doesn't just leave the tour, he effectively abandons Tiger. It would isolate the greatest player of all time as the last remaining superstar defending a crumbling fortress. The psychological impact of seeing that partnership dissolve would send shockwaves through the younger generation of players who idolize both men. It proves that absolutely every single person has a price, and loyalty is a commodity that can be bought if the check has enough zeros. But beyond the money, the politics, and the corporate betrayal, there is a deeply personal, emotional conflict raging inside Rory McIlroy right now. Everything he has done in his career has been in pursuit of history. He has 4 major championships, but he has been agonizingly chasing the green jacket at Augusta National for a decade to complete the career Grand Slam. For a player who reveres the history of the game as much as he does, walking away from the traditional structure of the PGA Tour has to feel like a massive compromise of his own soul. If he stays, he secures his legacy as the savior of the modern era, the man who stood firm when the ground was shaking beneath him. But if he leaves, the conversation around his career instantly shifts. He goes from being the protector of the game to the man who finally surrendered. It is the ultimate paradox. Does he secure unprecedented generational wealth and ownership for his family? Or does he protect the purity of his legacy in the history books? As of right now, we are sitting in an agonizing, incredibly tense waiting period. There is no official confirmation that the ink is dry, but the silence coming from his camp is deafening. The lines between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf are no longer black and white. They are completely blurred by ongoing corporate negotiations and shattered trust. Rory McIlroy is staring at the ultimate crossroads, knowing that his next move will permanently rewrite the history of professional golf. Will he stay and try to rebuild the shattered trust of the PGA Tour? Or will he take the $850 million crown and officially become an owner in the new world order of golf? Let me know exactly what you guys think down in the comments. Does Rory have every right to take the money after the tour betrayed him? Or would this destroy his legacy forever?